Welcome back, everybody, to Magnolia on Money, where we discuss everything financial from the economy to retirement. And I'm Ed Cox with Magnolia Wealth Management. Today, I thought we would talk about the new law that was signed into effect. Started out as Build Back Better and then changed its name to the Inflation Reduction Act. And so I want to dig into that, and I've been getting questions from clients asking, Ed, how is this going to affect when they're putting more money into the economy? Isn't this just going to do exactly what the Fed is trying to undo, which is inflation? So I wanted to dig into that a little bit and kind of talk about the numbers behind what's being done and what passed, and maybe this will kind of clear some of that up. So let's just dig in, and you can see my screen here. Okay, so this is kind of an overview of the Inflation Reduction Act, which the top lines here are what they expect, and you can see down here estimates as to what they think that the revenue from these different pieces of the legislation are going to generate. Okay, so you can add all that up, $737 billion that they feel is going to come from these different parts of the bill, which are 15% corporate minimum tax, the pricing of the new of drugs, IRS tax enforcement, and the 1% stock buyback fee and loss limitations extension. So that's kind of where they feel the money is going to come from. And this is kind of where these last ones are where the money's being spent. Pretty broad categories, but we'll talk about that. Energy security and climate got $369 billion. Affordable Care Act extension was $64, and then Western drought resilience, what they call, is $4 billion. All right, so let's look at the ones that probably get the most notoriety in this bill. So more audits. When you have the Inflation Reduction Act includes $80 billion in the next decade. So there's going to be a theme throughout this that I really want everybody to remember. All right, this is over a decade. All right, 10 years. So for the IRS, the money that will be used to hire 87,000 new employees by 2031. Okay. Increase enforcement efforts, upgrade the agency technology, all this. Okay, so that's the $80 billion that most people are concerned about. Who's really going to get audited and what are they really looking for, or who's really going to get targeted? So typically, that's going to be more of the middle class. That typically is where that's going to go. So what remains to be seen, but we'll see. So that's the audit portion, the IRS side. Changes in drug costs. So the Reduction Act will allow Medicare to negotiate directly with drug companies for lower prices on 10 prescription drugs beginning in 26, including inflation caps for drugs purchases. And, they're looking at it to produce $288 billion of savings over the next, where there's the word again, decade. So that's the drug cost with the Medicare, typically with Medicare. Changes in corporate tax. Okay, that's the Inflation Reduction Act is expected to raise $258 billion over the next, there it is again, decade, via 15% minimum tax on 150 U.S. companies that have annual profits of at least $1 billion. So if they have, there's about 150 companies, annual profits of $1 billion, minimum tax on that being at 15%. So once again, over the next decade, they're looking at that money. Climate and energy, Inflation Reduction Act injects $369 billion over the next, once again, decade into climate and energy program spending that is forecasted to reduce the U.S. Greenhouse gases emissions, blah, blah, blah. So what I see when I look at this bill is it's a lot of money, but it's spread over a 10-year period on most of the bill. So when when people are worried about that this is going to be more money thrown into the economy, which is going to spur in more inflation, I think the fact that it's being spread over such a long period of time, we really don't feel like that's going to have a big impact on inflation like we saw that came out of the pandemic, where money was just thrown into the economy all at once. You know, we had trillions of dollars that came into the economy, but they came all at once, you know, in a very, very short period of time. And that's what caused this huge inflationary push upward. So I hope that helped kind of understand what the bill is and how it can affect, you know, inflation currently. We don't feel like it's going to do that because of the fact that it's being spread over such a long period of time. And once again, when we get, you know, new people in office, does that change, you know, over time? So not sure how much teeth it really has, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hope that helped. Y'all have a great week. God bless. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.